So let's talk about my grading setup. I recently posted a story to my Instagram, and a lot of you guys responded to that. And we're curious what kind of monitors I use, what I recommend, and what that weird ball thing was in the middle of my desk. So let's talk about all of that. First off, the monitors. These are, in my opinion, the most important because they are the reference of the things that you're doing. So you need to have a good monitor, but also they need to be calibrated properly. So for that, I use an iRight, I think it's called, device, and this allows me to measure the amount of ambient lighting in the room and adjust all the values in these monitors, such as brightness, contrast, RGB, and then it makes an entire ICC profile for the monitor itself, so they match up as close as they can be matched up. So that's really cool. The first monitor, let me check real quick because those names. This is the BenQ PD2705U. There you have it. Something that I really like and that I use every day is the USB-C cable that I use to connect to the monitor, but it also powers my MacBook. So I don't necessarily need to use that magnetic thingy, and I can basically get away with only one USB-C cable. They say this monitor covers a 99% Rec. 709 and sRGB color space, which is kind of strange because they sell it as a designer's monitor. So in my personal opinion, whenever you sell a designer's monitor, you sell it with a 100% coverage of all the color spaces that these people work in the most. So that's kind of a thing. But on the other hand, I talked to a friend of mine and he also said like 99% of the work that you're doing and that I'm doing is for social media or for internet use. And every video has been watched on a different device, on a Samsung, on a Huawei, on a Oppo or something. And all these mobile devices show you something in a different color space. So it doesn't really matter if you're not doing the highest tier of color grading. If you, of course, do cinema color grading, then you probably already invested in a flangers or like a Sony, like these massive 20K monitors. But that is definitely out of my budget and definitely not necessary for the work that I'm doing. Overall, this monitor is quite nice. It does exactly what I want it to be doing, and it comes with a handy control unit to switch through the different modes, which is very handy if you, for example, want to work on your MacBook and you just want to use that screen as an extension of your MacBook. Just switch it into MacBook mode or in user mode, which I use if I calibrated it. So there's a lot of options and you can switch between those things very quickly. It's a lot nicer than these buttons on the side of the monitor, especially if you use these robotic arms that I'm using, because then your whole setup is sort of shifting again. So, second monitor that I'm using is not so special, but it works and it does the job. It was, I think, like 3 years ago, about $300. So not a lot, but it is a nice monitor and it actually covers 100% of Rec. 709 and sRGB, which is kind of strange because I would think that a more expensive monitor would cover more of a color space, but maybe that's some weird terminology. I don't know. But let me speak again. The one on the left is the PD2700Q. I don't even think they make these ones anymore. Also because I think they've released newer models that do exactly what this model is doing, but better. So that's about it. Let's cover the middle like ball thing that everybody was curious about. This is the DaVinci Resolve mini panel, and this is basically DaVinci Resolve in a controller. And something that I absolutely enjoy while color grading is to use tools instead of my mouse and my keyboard. Same thing goes for when you're DJing, for example. If you've ever DJed before and you're using virtual DJ on your laptop and you need to switch between tracks with your mouse, it ain't that fun. If you're using a controller, however, you can just completely immerse into this whole thing and it becomes a lot more interesting. So that's why I decided to get one of these things, because they just allow you to be more present with your color grading process, and that's really nice. They do cost a lot of money, but in my opinion, if you're working in the field and if you're doing color grading jobs, then this is definitely something that might be of interest to you. They also have a smaller model, the Micro, and that comes in at about $800. And that might be way better in your budget, so check that one out. So, Oh, my computer. So I used to have the M1 MacBook, which is a great device. It does exactly what I wanted to do, and it runs DaVinci Resolve super smoothly. However, it only had 2 ports, and it could only handle one external monitor. That's something that I really dislike about that laptop, so I decided to transfer it and sell it to a friend of mine and buy myself a new one. Because these 14-inch MacBooks are definitely something worth considering if you're doing a lot of post-processing stuff, editing, color grading, sound design, you name it. Because they come with a normal SD card reader built in, and an HDMI port, 3 USB-C ports, and also just your regular jack. And then the most impressive one, the magnetic power adapter is back. Wow, that came out difficultly, whatever. So that's about it. That's about my setup. It's not so fancy, but it does exactly what I wanted to be doing. I got a nice reference monitor that it sort of shows me exactly how I want the image to be shown. And if in the end I really want to see what it's going to be looking like on a phone, I just airdrop that clip to my phone, check it on the phone. If I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm not, I go back into grading and I tweak it. So there's a lot to think about. And the thing that I want to get you guys to think about as well is whether you are investing in a micro panel, a mini panel, or a couple of monitors that really help you to color grade better. Because personally, I did a lot of color grading on my laptop only, and that works just fine. But it gets just immersive, you know, it gets just more fun to be doing it with a controller. So that's all. I am packing my bags now and heading off to Austria soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.